that I miss you, the more that I don't. If you think I need you, I promise I don't. I'ma go all night, you can up and leave. I'ma be alright, put it all on me. You think I miss you, I know that I know that I don't. I know that I don't. I know that I don't. If you think I miss you, I promise I don't need a man right now. You don't need to call me baby. Something by the way you move is driving me crazy. Can you really hold me down? Really just trying to play me, but I know you just want me around. The more that I miss you, the more that I don't. If you think I need you, I promise I don't. I'ma go all night, you can up and leave. I'ma be alright, put it all on me. You think I miss you, I know that I know that I If you think I miss you, I know that I know that I don't. I know that I don't. I know that I don't. If you think I miss you, I promise I don't need a man right now. You don't need to call me baby. Something by the way you move is driving me crazy. Can you really hold me down? Really just trying to play me, but I know you just want me around. If you think I miss you, I know that I know that I don't.
All right, good morning, friends. Happy Monday. Hope you guys doing well. Right off the bat, I want to address the elephant in the room, which is, I told you guys about this. If you guys are longtime stream followers or watchers, you guys knew this was coming. About like 6 months ago, I was like, you know what? I think I've saturated the audience through CT, because I think all of you guys that are in here come through the crypto Twitter links or whatever, and it's literally impossible to branch out on YouTube. Like, it's very hard. You need a bunch of people to like your videos and share them and stuff like that, and it's been suggested to me by countless people, like, dude, your thumbnails and titles suck, like you need to work on them. So yeah, that's what you guys are seeing. So if you hate them, I'm sorry. It is what it is. ETH alert. Love to see it. All right, we got a lot to discuss. Last Friday's outlook that I put out was one goal and one goal only: to address high time frame momentum concerns. I'm going to quickly cover that one more time. I think the first time this cycle, there's some legitimate super high time frame concerns, and it would be dumb not to address them. So we're going to quickly cover that again. If you guys watched that video on Friday, you already know what I'm going to talk about. Friday's plans were also mentioning how we were trading in a range. I think we were literally somewhere in here when I put out the video, and I talked about these two blue levels that you guys will see. Let me like zoom out, maybe it'll be cleaner. This low right here, these highs right here, right? And I basically talked about trade plans around both of these. My kind of base case since we were here, I'm pretty sure I streamed here. I know I didn't stream like the Monday after this, but I think I streamed the next Monday, whenever it was. But I said my base case was basically, there's our range. We're going to trade to both sides, right? We'll trade below, we'll trade above, and then we'll find direction afterwards. So we traded below. It's a wick above. We could trade higher. But those would be the places where people would be the most fearful and the most euphoric, right? That's something I kind of like planned for going in. So here we are. We did the scary part. We survived the scary part. and now we're going to do the fun part, which hopefully, you know, if you're fully max exposed right now and have no cash to deploy and want up only, you want this just to rip. You want this to be the first CME gap, or maybe the second CME gap of the entire year that doesn't fill. Kind of like we talked about over here, but we'll get to that. And you want to see this keep ripping. I think the most valuable thing about the current rally post CPI print is the spot buying that was done, right? All throughout the weekend, we had a strong spot move. Pretty much, you know, the Saturdays are pretty dead. I think everyone knows that. But pretty much going into Sunday, going into the Sunday new candle, we got spot flows picking up, right? And that led to a big bunch of expansion here, and that's where we're at. As of this morning, we still have a decent amount of spot buying going on. We're still blowing out shorts, which is good. But this is typically where the scales start to tip, right? We've got big scary things this week, right? Big and scary. We've got Trump speaking and whatever, Xi speaking and FOMC. And the thing that I'm used to trading, anytime there's like a macro environment, I always call back to 2022 where I learned this the strongest. Shout out Huss for teaching me this on the timeline back in 2022. Information was so readily available on the timeline. There was only like 100 of us. Things have changed since then. But talking about how positioning goes into events and comes out of events, right? So a lot of times if positioning is bullish going into events, they're expecting bullish outcomes, right? They'll TP into those outcomes and you see like a unwind. A lot of times if you're expecting a bearish outcome, people sell their shit going into that. They're like very scared about FOMC, very scared about CPI, whatever. The thing happens, and whether it's scary or it's not scary, it kind of gets priced in. And then people have nothing to do other than close their hedges, buy their bags back, and you get kind of a mechanical reversion on the other side. So it'll be interesting to see if something like that happens this week. We get positive resolution with Trump and China, or we get a good FOMC or something like that. We trade higher. We go back to the previous quarter value area high, current monthly value area high, something like that, if that's possible. And for that good news to sell off or market top. That would be very interesting to see. For now, the simplest case, anyone who knows me knows I love EMAs in the background. I may not trade off of them that much anymore, but they're still fantastic for like portrayal of a trend or bias formation or invalidations and such. So the H1 trend has been pretty damn clean from the lows. We had one little hiccup with the CPI print, reclaimed Saturday, bullish Sunday, bullish so far off the weekly open. We did leave this massive CME gap. If you know me, you know what I'm going to say about this. I think for now, the cleanest thing to do, trade this low time frame as I'm doing, or intraday. Focus on the comp being held. Don't want to trade back into the composite value. So this is our composite value that we've been building since our capitulation. Composite value area high, composite value area low. If you look at like the weekly VWAPs, it's pretty clean on those as well, right? Two overlapping kind of weekly values. I'll show you that in a minute. And we're trading outside of it, right? So anytime you push away from a range, you kind of don't want perfect retests. You don't want trends to break. So we have a trend on our favor. We have a gap. We want to hold this. That would lead to trend continuation. Kind of perfect retest, holding under 113.8, stuff like that. Those would be really early warning signs that, yeah, we can bounce from here. We can't go higher. But that would be, to me, start of a little bit of weakness, especially at the location that we're trading. So hopefully that's all clear. Hopefully I'm live. Hopefully my mic is not muted. If you guys have any questions, throw them at me. Let me get caught up with chat, and then we'll get focused back up and start reading. Not reading, continuing. If you start talking about shorts, I don't want to hear it. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, so when I want to talk about shorts, I'll give you a trigger warning, and I'll give people like 5 seconds to mute the stream. Handlebar stash, dude, I wish I had one like that. 50 people here like the stream. Yeah, I'd appreciate you guys if you hit the like button. It does help. You know, if you guys like and share, like I don't ask that often, but if you guys do that, then I probably won't have to do the cringe thumbnails. I've been open and honest about this for like a year on YouTube. For any long-time viewers have heard me say this. I don't give a damn about growing on Twitter. That's never been a goal. But since I am doing the YouTube, I didn't really plan to do this, but since I'm doing it, it'd be kind of cool to grow. Like, who doesn't want to be like a big YouTuber? I think that'd be pretty sick. already know I'm like obviously way better trader than anyone else who's big on YouTube, outside of, you know, a few guys. I think who's got bigger channels, like big channels in CT. Exo's got a huge channel. TraderMain's got a huge channel. Outside of those two, I think most of like who I would consider respected CT traders don't have huge channels. Like Mag's at like 10K or something. Charlie's like at 5K. I think there's a bunch of really good traders that try YouTube, and it's tough to break out, man. People don't really want to hear, like, trust me, like maybe you guys can agree to this. You don't really want to hear trade plans. You don't really want to hear if-then scenarios. You kind of just want to hear up only, down only. I should sell everything. I should buy everything. I'm going to get rich. I'm going to be, like, if things go to zero, I'm going to be rich because I can buy everything at zero and then I'll be rich. Or things are going to go to infinity and I'll be rich because things went to infinity and I own them, right? Those are the things that really sell. Anyways, that's enough of a sidebar. See me gap is bait for higher. Reminds me of the 92K rip. We left that gap behind. Powell announcing end of QT will shatter people's shorts. Look at the bond market. It's telling you what's happening. I think there's some good things happening under the hood. People talking about the gold BTC ratio. I think I did that last week. I can't remember. Did I? I can't remember. And yeah, you know, tariff stuff, if that eases up, that will be, you know, that'll be great. Asset prices across like the world are going parabolic anyways. We have the whole thing that we've talked about, you know, Bitcoin lagging gold. I think we've done that on the public stream months ago. I'm for sure I've done it with Paragon 2 or 3 times, but I think I did on the public stream as well. So yeah, there's a bullish backdrop. I'm of the opinion that Supercycle makes more sense and is actually more painful than 4-year cycle top. If anyone watched my podcast on the In Silico Terminal channel, I did this maybe a month ago. It was definitely before 1010. It's probably a month ago. I was discussing with Sokyo how I thought that Max Payne wasn't actually a bear market because, I mean, boohoo, things go to zero, we get to buy cheap shit, and then they go to infinity again, and everyone gets rich again. Doesn't feel like Max Payne to me. If Max Payne to me feels like just repeating 2025 like 3 more times. I think 2025 in many ways, and maybe some of you guys agree to this and maybe some of you guys disagree to this. I think 2025 has been harder for people to navigate by 10-fold compared to 2023 and 2024. I think people have found it very difficult to position, to trade, to maintain bullishness in 2025. I think the summer rally caught a lot of people off guard, myself included. I de-risked my Bitcoin positioning into the 90s. Back here when we were pushing into this region, this is where I closed off a lot of my long exposure and had to flip very aggressively on this 4-hour trend reclaim, and I did that with alts, so it was a good recovery, but nonetheless, like, it for sure caught me off guard. 4-hour trend is so much cleaner. Hold on. For sure did not expect this. Took a hunch, took a trade, was met with kind of an unexpected rally. Wasn't expecting us to go to all-time highs this year. So I think if I'm feeling it, I think a lot of people are feeling it. So anyways, that brings us to where we are at locally. I kind of touched on this, but let's continue. So yeah, as long as H1 trend's holding, flows are being spot supported, you're not getting perfect retests, I think we trade up higher. I think this region is tough to break, 116. If you guys are, you know, frequent stream watchers, you know how much importance I've placed on this composite between 116 and 120. We've used this so many times the past several months successfully, looking for trades, looking for acceptance inside, looking for de-risking regions, you know, trading through it. And this personally, I tried to catch the knife 2 times during this, one at 116, one at 113, both unsuccessfully. But nonetheless, very clean value, still being respected off the capitulation balance, and we're trading back into that region once again. So naturally found a little bit of selling here. We will once again see if we can get proper acceptance in here. Proper acceptance to me means kind of blowing people out, give me a God candle. If you're not going to give me a God candle, then I have to rely on the trend. I can't position into expansion. I have to position off the trends and pullbacks. Those are the 2 ways that I'll be playing kind of the rest of this week, right? So pullbacks in the H1 trend that are spot supported are pretty nice. That's a clean and easy way to define your invalidation. Otherwise, just give me a fucking God candle through here, and we could try to run back the 92K that one of you guys just mentioned. Something like this, right? If we get a little bit of distribution, but we get a Chad candle like this, it makes your job very, very, very easy. as opposed to just kind of bleeding into those levels or kind of crawling into those levels like we did over here, right? This, I was maintaining a lot of optimism at these highs that we could get through, right? And obviously we ended up just being very distributive. The clean trend here was the 12-hour trend. So I'm just kind of covering these bases from like an educational perspective. 12-hour trend was kind of goated for several months. Up in here, once again, you guys can see kind of the absorption showing up. Absorption of buys, that is, right? Maybe a little bit of it starting again. Okay. Your content is of the highest quality, though. I appreciate that, man. I think for YouTube, real talking head is much plus, meaning like doxing and having the camera. I would agree with you. I think that's something I've considered a couple times, actually. It's not something that I'm like super opposed to or anything like that, for sure. Give me 1 second, guys. Be right with you. Okay. Doc made a post earlier today about Nance buying. Was it simply an observation or was significance of that? Significance is twofold. One is it's a little bit impressive that someone is buying in the style that they're buying. Usually when you see large spot buying, it's, yeah, there are spikes, right? So if you look at like a delta histogram like this, yeah, you'll see big 1 candle spikes of spot buying or maybe even 2 candles, but most of it is like very small, steady buying. It is unusual to see someone buying like large several times. Why aren't these showing up? But like in troves like this, and that's what you saw in the delta histogram. So I thought that was a bit unusual. That's not something you see often. I would say that's more of like an anomaly type of buying versus, you know, whatever. And another thing that to be noticed is someone's buying that heavily, you really do want to see price action kind of supporting it. So what are we getting, right? Most of his buys were done, I think they were at the lows, but the most recent one, the heaviest one, was done like in here. Didn't really move price much. So there is a counterparty soaking a lot of that buying, right? What that counterparty, who that is, how they're absorbing it. Is it the passive books, which by the way are very heavily stacked against bulls right now, but little lesson, I won't go into too much detail with passive books, is you can just eat right through them as long as you have aggressive buyers, right? They're just sitting there, right? And someone could just eat right through them. You just need a lot of power, a lot of buying to eat through those. Where should we consider entering spot sol? Remind me in a minute. We'll get back to Solana. I do want to hear trade plans though. Okay, good. So we covered a few of them. My main core ones this week are based around what's happening locally, right? So H1 trend equals continuation. If you're a VWAP guy, there's very clean VWAP levels too. I'm going to show you guys real quick. We've talked a lot about the monthly. Everyone should be familiar with how much I've been using the monthly, so you guys can see the clean rotation, these dotted lines right here, which are probably pretty faded for you guys. I'm trying to figure out how to get them darker. When I do this, let's see. Yeah, I think new bug introduced in the new VWAP, so I need these a little bit darker. Either way, very clean rotation from accepting back within prior month's value, rotation to the other side. We've talked a lot about the 2 standard deviation monthly value very low holding us. We talked about this over here. I think I tweeted this out as well. Just sideways price action gets reacceptance back into value. So that's exactly what we got. Pretty much sideways, a little bit of buying, but eventually you rotate it back into developing value. We're trading now above the monthly VWAP, right? So line in the sand, H1 trend, don't drop back into the composite, defend the expansion candle, defend the buying, defend the monthly VWAP, try to get acceptance above prior month's value area high. Next levels would be pretty damn high on a VWAP scan, right? We've talked a lot about the quarterly VWAP. I mentioned to you guys several times, outlooks and streams and everything like that. The quarterly for me in Q3 was a gem. This thing was beautiful, gave me a lot of edge. You guys can even see the clean like loss of quarterly right here, ending up, you know, being a de-risk signal, all of this, right? So if we use prior quarterly values, we can't really use developing or the current quarterly because it's the same as the monthly, right? First month into the quarter, it's the exact same thing. So we're trading, as we rotated back into the prior quarterly value area low, we're trading right above prior quarterly VWAP. That opens up one more leg to 118, right? Again, it is all the line in the sand right here. This is going to be a lot of coins transferring between de-riskers, profit takers, late longers, late spot buyers, spot sellers, the heavy ask skew. A lot of stuff is happening right here, as you guys know. Everyone, it doesn't matter if you use VWAPs or EMAs or ranges or liquidity. I think everyone has some reason to have a line in the sand at 115, right? So that's what you're kind of seeing in this location. Who needs a talking head? It's a valid point too. Hey Doc, what are your thoughts on hyperliquid data and Binance buying spot? Maybe CZ wanting to kill these whales shorting. Hyperliquid looks like they're selling heavy. Interesting. I haven't paid too much attention. Let me pull up hyperliquid. I don't have hyperliquid spot data. Sometimes we get that information on CT, on those like, you know, whale watcher accounts and stuff like that. If I'm just looking at perp volume on hyperliquid or, you know, perp delta histogram, it looks pretty neutral. I wouldn't say there's too much aggressive shorting or too much aggressive longing. It just looks neutral to me. It doesn't look skewed heavily one side to the other. If it's spot, I don't have the spot data. Docs sync. Oh, you mean like docs? Yeah, show the video. I may do that. Maybe next cycle. Who knows? X never docs though. He sells you huge following. It's a fair point, man. Fair point. Thoughts on negative 0 to 10% order book depth? I agree. Spot buying looked good on the weekend, but seems no spot bids below to support. Outside of the Nance buying this morning, yeah, there hasn't been extremely egregious buying. Coinbase has been net selling all morning. Since New York Open, Coinbase has been net sellers. There's a little bit of buying, but heavy selling. The good part is, so far with price action and flows, despite the selling, you are getting a little bit of absorption, right? To remind me, I have to come back to the yearly. We want to talk about this too. We got heavy selling with the New York Open, right? We're holding the hourly trend. We're still getting, you know, decent spot flows. Binance is still buying. So yes, you're getting buy absorption here. You're getting sell absorption locally here, right? Again, this is the whole dynamic. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be a fight between the passive resting liquidity that's sitting from here all the way to all-time highs and the active buying, right? Can the active buyers chew through all this liquidity, or are the buyers going to run out of coins, or just decide like, look, I don't want to buy today. It's Wednesday, it's FOMC, I'll chill. Or it's Thursday, Trump is whatever, I'll chill. And during those little moments where they're not going to be buying because they, you know, bought Saturday and they bought Sunday and whatever, can bears take the reins? And when they take the reins, how low can they take it, right? So this is the dance that we're playing with this week, right? Do you do any Tradfi stuff? I don't, man. I don't. The only Tradfi stuff I do really is crypto related. Like my Tradfi ventures this cycle was buying Coinbase the day that SEC sued Coinbase. Coinbase was hella cheap. It was like 30 or 40 bucks. And I compounded that stack a little bit the entire way. I full ejected around 200 last summer. I put that entire stack into the ETH ETF, BlackRock's ETH ETF, and it took a long time to see that kind of play out for me. I went pretty negative on that position for a while. I still didn't believe that, you know, ETH was cycle topped without hitting all-time highs, so I held onto the position. It's rewarding me now, but yeah, that's the kind of the extent of my TradFi ventures this cycle. Not much else. Some calls here and there, some leaps here and there. The biggest fumble that I had was buying NVIDIA leaps at the end of 2022 and selling them like 6 weeks later, which could have been like, it could have been something, guys. I bought NVIDIA leaps 2 years out and closed them in 6 weeks. One of the biggest fumbles you'll ever hear from anyone. Longtime Twitter follower, I'd recognize your name, Andrew. You're always posting funny memes in the replies. First time watching it live on YouTube, watching it working. Yeah, do work, bro. The stream is recorded. You can always come back. People say I talk slow. You can watch it on 2x. Things get timestamped tomorrow. You can scroll through. Watch at your own leisure, dude. Can you explain what indicators you use and are they free on TradingView? A lot of them are. All the trend stuff is free, right? I have my own trends just because I like them being locked to a time frame. That's something that's not easily like replicable, right, on the coin and the free TradingView ones, but it's simple. Hit ! trend in the chat and you'll see the EMAs that I use. Other things, fixed range volume profile, free, right? Relative volume, it's just a fun way to color the candles. You can just use regular volume. RSI, I almost never use. Obviously, everyone knows about RSI. What else? Market order bubbles by Leviathan, that's free. You can use that. The sessions indicator, right? Just all I do is highlight New York sessions just to quickly scan if there's any kind of trends in the week. Expectations, I also use Velo for that. Velo's a lot easier than just the sessions indicator. Non-CME highlighter, this is a custom script. This is not publicly available, but it's highlighting weekend price action in the 5 to 6 p.m. CME window. Very nice. Shout out to Moke for building that for me. Again, Paragon Daily, Weekly, whatever. Those are all free indicators. Doc levels, again, shout out to Moke. He built this for me. It just combines all the levels. So instead of having a whole bunch of mess on my charts with like 40 levels, you know, like instead of my chart looking like this with the daily trend, the weekly trend, the VWAPs and all of this, it becomes like a whole bunch of mess. He simplified it for me and just gave me a levels indicator. This is also not like public. It's just a private one. If he wants to make it public, you gotta ask him. Like it's his indicator, right? He gave it to me, but still out of respect for him, I would rather him make the decision rather than me. You can see the guy on spot is hedging it at the same time with perps. So one of my friends, shout out Texas Hedge, this morning mentioned the same thing. I didn't see that myself. Let's see if I can find it, because what I have is just Nance flows. If he is doing it, it's hidden in here and it's very hard for me to see. But yeah, if you have that edge, Clemente, hope I said your name right. Yeah, Clemente, I actually recognize your name, bro. You've been around for a minute. He's hedging it on perps. Yeah, that could entirely be possible, man. Hi, Doc, can you talk about sizing up once you find some consistency in setup? I think the easiest advice I'm going to give you, and I've been giving this advice a lot lately, and this makes me feel good because a lot of the students in Paragon are seeing success, and they're all asking me about the same thing, which makes me feel really good as someone who's kind of like in the educator role. They're all asking me about like what's the most effective way to size up, and I think what everyone tries to do, I'm going to give you an example. $25,000 account, you're seeing success, right? You're running up the account slowly and steadily over time. You say, hey, look, I have a lot more money in the bank. I want to use more money. You know, making $500 is not attractive. Let me make more, whatever the case may be. And you're like, let me make a $50,000 account. And instead of risking whatever your risk is per trade, you double it. You double your risk. That's, I think, where people find the most trouble, is that jump to double the size. What I would suggest is just keep trading the same account. You don't need to put more capital in the account. Your risk is your risk, right? Just increase your risk by a little bit. If you're used to your notional sizing being 1 Bitcoin, increase that to 1.1 Bitcoin. After a week, increase it to 1.15 Bitcoin. After another week, increase it to 1.2 Bitcoin. Do this steadily, slowly over time, and before you know it, you'll be at 2 and you won't even recognize that you've been, you doubled your size. If you make that jump from 1 to 2, I think that's where a lot of people struggle. Myself included. I'm not exempt from that discussion. I have struggled with that as well. I've tried taking big leaps in the sizing, and I don't like doing it that way. 2025 for me, my main core focus has been becoming a better low time frame trader. I think plenty of you guys have seen that, like whatever. And just continue to scale that strategy, right? So continuing to push my sizing month by month, quarter by quarter, whatever, right? That's been my goal. And I think the easiest way to increase sizing is just don't make jumps, man. What's the rush? Just make slow and steady and small improvements to sizing and you're good. Shimhead, yeah, I did the same with Paladin before it took off. Palantir, maybe you mean? Yeah, it sucks, dude. Good morning. Good morning, Rhett. Need to get Doc, a bunch of paid sponsors, best in the business. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for reminding me. I forgot to put the Coinbase logo on the stream. I apologize, John. Forgot to do that. But yeah, shout out Coinbase for sponsoring the streams. Every kind of day or week, we have little meetings with the Coinbase team, myself and Magus, to discuss like little improvements, right? I think they're like pretty locked in with wanting to catch up to the rest of the market right now. I think anyone who has had experience with Coinbase kind of just brushes them off and be like, yeah, they're this legacy platform. We've got Hyperliquid. We've got this. We've got that. Whatever. Why use Coinbase? And it's inspiring at least to see the team recognizing that they're behind and putting in the steps and, you know, talking to guys like me and Magus that actually fucking trade Bitcoin every day. To be like, what are your needs? What do you want? This is the design team, this is the UI team, and everything like that. And I think the biggest thing that they need to work on, that we've been open and honest with them about, is increasing liquidity. Like they need to get competitive liquidity ASAP, right? And I've been informed, I think I leaked this last week, and again, I apologize, John, if I'm leaking this, but that they said that there are a bunch of new market makers set to step in very, very soon. That's what I'm looking forward to. The minute they have competitive liquidity with the rest of the market, that's where my volume's going. Are there any altcoins you're eyeing going into the end of the year? It looks like most people are just focusing on high pump at ZEC. I like pump. I've had some success trading pump. Dude, the thing is, I haven't been inspired by alts. Like, real talk, I just have not been inspired by altcoins whatsoever in 2025. It's been a long-standing kind of thing for me this year is, yeah, man, I don't have any core convictions on any of them. When I trade alts, I trade them with zero conviction. It's not like, I need this coin, I want this coin, I know it's going to be the next this, the next that, the next whatever. It's kind of just, you know, trade them. And the problem with lack of conviction, I'm going to tell you guys honestly, is your sizing will never reflect, like, if you're, what I mean to say this, if you have high conviction in an asset, you're willing to eat more volatility to see the thesis of that coin play out. You're not going to get fudded so easily. You want your bags, and you size big relative to your conviction. You say, I'm putting X amount of my portfolio in this coin. I'm willing to see it out on X amount of time frame. I know these developments are coming, yada, yada, yada. When you have zero conviction in a coin, it hurts your sizing, number one. And number two, it's going to affect how you trade it, because you're going to want to de-risk trend losses. You're going to want to do this and want to do that. And you want to, you know, whatever. And that prevents you from getting those massive 5x, 10x, whatever returns. So yeah, for me in 2025, I haven't had a single high conviction trade. I've been very open about like missing Hyperliquid several times. I think that has been a banger several times. But yeah, I haven't caught Hyperliquid. My goal has just been Bitcoin. And yeah, I apologize. That's boring. It's boomer. It's lame. It's like he's just trading Bitcoin, but I don't know, man. It's keeping me entertained. It's keeping me motivated. The goal setting this year, since, you know, really dialing in Bitcoin has inspired me a lot, right? To continue to work hard and not be complacent. And altcoins don't inspire me the same way. Do you use Bookmap for Orderflow? Agger. AGGR.io. I think it's, or no, I guess it's called Agger Trade. AGGR.trade. This is where I see active positioning, majority of the active positioning, not sponsored by them, but Market Monkey Terminal. I'm going to shout them out. Prior, I was like recommending Kiyotaka because they were a free service. This is paid. This is not a free service. But I have been using them over the past 2 weeks, and I do really like them. How's BTC doing? Longs be printing, as they be printing. Any tips on how to use volume profile? Yeah, so you have a couple, right? You can always use visible range. So whatever candles on your chart, it's going to adjust to that, and it's going to give you the highest traded volume in a certain location. You could use composites, right? So the way that I do it, the simplest way, is if the market is doing two things, right? It is balance. It finds imbalance by breaking through strongly. It will trend for a while, and then it will try to build a new balance. How this new balance resolves up or down, it doesn't matter. What we're doing is taking the end of this trend, so trend loss or an expansion candle. If you get like a God candle like this, and then price starts doing this for a little bit, you can anchor your fixed range volume profile to the start of that price action, right? So you're basically just anchoring it to the start of new balance forming, and sometimes you can do this after the fact, meaning, oh, you still think it's a trending move, like one of these, and you say, actually, the trend that was here, the 12-hour trend is broken. Okay, we're holding the lows, and then you take this whole thing as a composite value. So the last expansion candle was here. Now we are just ranging, right? Same thing right here. You get an expansion candle here. You can put in a fixed range volume profile. Big gap, big expansion, now consolidation. You can anchor it to the start of the consolidation. It's very simple, and just keep the tool right here. So wait for it to load, go to settings, and then just click extend right, and that'll just keep as new price comes in, it'll just keep adding that data again and again and again and again. Non-trading question. I saw you say brother in Christ to Magus in a post. Were you being serious as a believer, or was that just a joke? It's something that we say a lot in crypto Twitter, is like, my brother in Christ. Yeah, not trying to be offensive to anyone or anything like that, but yeah, I was just saying it is for fun. I was betting $1 to find something that is positive EV, and now would like to size up to at least $100 per trade as step one. I mean, that's fine, right? Like, it's all relative to your portfolio balance, right? So if you're worth $100,000 and you're first trading just $1 because you're like, I just need to trade real money, I need to get a rhythm for things, and you're like, okay, now out of my $100,000 stack, I'm gonna trade $100. But if you have $1,000 to your name, only 1,000, and you're saying, okay, I was trading $1, now I want to trade 100, I think that's too big of a jump. So it's all relative to total capital, man. You should try to trade Hyperliquid. It's never too late. I've traded, so like somewhere in February, I spent like a month and a half on Hyperliquid. I still have money on there. Sometimes they are like the first one to launch something. So like one of my best trades on Hyperliquid was BERA chain. Let's see if I can go down to the hourly. So the day this launched, the first people to list BERA chain was Hyperliquid. We don't have the origin data, but I longed, I think, somewhere at like $6 and TP'd somewhere at 13. Like, I got a 2x on perps intraday. I don't know if we can go back this far for this data. Let's try the 30-minute. Yeah, we don't even have like the opening listing. So it's like literally the minute that Hyperliquid launched it. They launched it somewhere at like $6, maybe $7. I can't remember the exact where my entry was, but I basically just market longed when Hyperliquid listed it because they were the first ones to do so. Longed it to all the way to like 13. Banger trade. When was that? That's forever. That was February, dude. Oh my God. Time is flying. That was February. That doesn't even feel like that long ago. What up, Mag? Welcome back. Should I start from the beginning? You can if you want, man. If you watched the Outlook and Paragon this morning, you should be all right. If you want to go back and rewatch, feel free. There's always going to be more juice in the Paragon Outlooks. Let's see how we're doing. How'd you catch your Bitcoin long this morning? I missed the New York Open puke. I just wasn't at the desk for that specific moment. I longed into the pullback right here. This was just a lot of selling, a lot of aggression coming into New York Open. We're holding the 2 standard deviation value area low. We're getting momentum loss. We're holding the hourly trend. I don't want to see kind of 114.3 breached. I'm looking at this as a sign of strength that we're front running the obvious liquidity and the obvious levels. You know, fair value gap traders and liquidity traders are getting front run. We're getting good buy absorption. Someone on Nance is bidding a lot, right? We did get a lot of spot selling into the New York Open, but that spot selling was absorbed. Yeah, I mean, there was a good amount of liquidations here, or not, maybe not liquidations, but at least longs closing into this sell, which held. So all of that was good. I did not catch this one. I did not catch this one. I'm long from here. Monthly VWAP at 114.5, but it didn't seem like much interest from buyers. No volume spikes, no aggression from buyers at first, so I faded. Let me go back and try to... Okay, so I mean, you do have aggression coming in, right? You have positional closing into a point of interest. You have a flat daily VWAP. I'm not going to go into the entire intraday system on the public stream, but Trevor, I recognize your name. You might already be in Paragon, so I want to go over it with you. But yeah, I mean, you did get positional closing. You got a lot of volume coming in, so we talk about 2,000 contracts per 1 minute candle. This is several candles that kind of meets the bid into the location you want, low time frame level confluence, VWAP confluence, etc. You know, you can take a stab here. The thing with trading intraday is you're not basically trading on confirmation. You're more trading on EV of I'm seeing X, Y, and Z. I'm getting the location that I want. This is the flow that I want in this location. Let me take a stab, and if I'm wrong, I know quickly, right? That's the thing that if you're a confirmation trader, like I used to be with trend trading and price action and stuff, if you're a confirmation trader, it's a little bit harder to get adjusted low time frame trading where you're not trading with confirmations. You're trading more with, you know, speculation in high EV locations. For me, I just saw a bunch of buying coming in, and I was like, this is the location I want anyways. I have 2/3 running, 1/3 off. What's my time zone? PST? No, it's EST. Will ETH hold 5K so we can have an all season? I mean, wouldn't that be great? I think ETH looks good, so let's shift the conversation there. All right, so ETH, where should we start? Everyone knows about the 4K level. Everyone and their mother knows about this weekly level at 4K. Everyone's got it painted on their chart, right? So we're not going to cover any of that more than this. We now have 1, 2, 3, 4 weekly stabs below 4K, all met with large buying, all confluent with the weekly trend, number 1, and number 2, the yearly value area high. I think this looks phenomenal for ETH, right? These stabs, these are the weekly stabs that left those big wicks. They're all met with buying under the yearly value area high. I think it looks great. I'm positioned in ETH. I bought spot ETH. I think my average is literally, it's not fantastic. It's like 39 something. I have spot ETH, and I'm hopeful that this resolves upwards. I'm also more bullish on ETH because of ETH BTC. You guys have heard me talking about ETH BTC for what feels since August, right? It's been forever. I kind of mapped out this setup somewhere back in August. I had the doodle. I should have left it on there. I deleted it. To pull back into the confluence of the weekly trend, its own, oh boy. Its own yearly value area high is, okay, let's do it like this. Its own yearly value area high, weekly trend, and it just needs to break the daily downtrend. So let's get rid of this slop and look at this on the daily. Last night I was kind of hopeful, so we're trying to break above it one more time, right? This is the doodle, compression between the weekly and the daily. I'm looking for ETH to lead. So I'm more bullish ETH than I am Bitcoin at this moment. You get value area low, value area high as well from the beginning of a consolidation or like the last X candles. Let me try to figure out what you're saying. So if you place it, let's try to give you a live example. So let's do it like this. Yesterday, how did we finish on Sunday? Consolidation, expansion. Where do we anchor the fixed range volume profile? Anchor it literally to like right after the consolidation. So this is all the data that we have, right? Let's say that we start doing it right here. I'm gonna make it dark so you guys can see, and then remove the extend right. We'll do it manually, right? So this is how value is building. This is all the data that you have. As candles get printed, this thing just keeps moving. It keeps on adjusting as volume is coming in. Hopefully you guys can see this and it's not too distracting with all the colors and stuff. So the value area highs and value area lows are moving, the POC is moving, and it's just going to continue doing this as price continues to develop. You see how that's working? It's going to be more and more and more reliable as an indicator, kind of the longer something trades within a value. So the longer something consolidates, the more success you're going to have with signals. Earlier, you're not going to have the cleanest, but you can still trade off of it, because you have to think about it this way. When you expand beyond a region, when you're kind of in like a new location, there's going to be a lot of people looking for a reason to trade, right? They're looking for levels, they're looking for VWAPs, they're looking for anything, right? So as price starts developing value in a new location, it'll ping pong between some levels, between, you know, the first high that we set here off the bounce, right? So we bounce, we set a high, we set a low, right? Price kind of ping pongs between the two for a little bit as buyers come in to defend the lows, sellers come in to defend the highs. Then you get a fight between the bulls and the bears. You get more aggressive longs coming in, price pushes away, developing value pushes higher, so on and so forth, right? What is the indicator at the bottom that splits buys and sells? Is that free? This one right here, this is the Paragon volume suite. I'm sure there's a free error indicator that does it. I don't know. Buy, sell volume. Yeah, so there's a bunch of these. You're going to have to go through and kind of see. It's pretty similar. Looks different. There you go. BitConnect, Bitcoins. We're almost getting full trade today. Let's see if I don't have any alerts here anymore. Set some alerts. So if I get distracted, I will know. All right. Let's see. So I think someone asked something about Solana. Let's go look at Sol. All right. So what is Solana doing? Since the capitulation, I haven't really looked at this chart. 10-10 capitulation formed a consolidation. It's been holding the weekly trend. I think that looks pretty solid. Significantly, in my opinion, weaker than ETH. Let's see if that still holds true. We've been kind of watching the Sol ETH chart. Yeah, still weaker than ETH. We'll go back to Sol. It looks okay. So if you're buying this based on a trend and you're saying, look, we consolidated forever, we're in a new trending environment, we need to hold above the prior consolidation, we need to hold high time frame trends, the weekly trend is going to be your friend. So the place to position is within the weekly trend. 180s, 190s if you get a pullback. That pullback has to come with Bitcoin basically losing 113 something, whatever that level was, 113.8, dropping back into value, potentially trading to the other side of value. So you would get one of these moves and that would pull Solana back and the whole market, obviously. Very simple plans. All right, last thing I wanted to talk about, I kind of forgot about this. We got so off topic. Bitcoin's yearly value area high. So the argument now I made last week was basically we're holding back within yearly value. That creates the yearly VWAP as like a magnet for me, right? We're getting a lot of good buying. We got a lot of good buying Saturday, Sunday, whatever. The market is looking for good news with Trump and China. So we're trading up, right? We have spot supported flows. We're back above the yearly value area high. Where's the yearly value area high right now? It's about 113K. So it's a little bit below that kind of bullish line in the sand that I drew out for you guys on an intra-week basis, right? We want to hold strength above 113.8, a perfect tag of the yearly value area high. I don't think if we're bullish should not come, right? So you should just leave that behind. So what we need to do is continue building value up here, 114, 115, 116, and try not to rotate back under 113, right? So 113.8 is the line in the sand. It's pretty confluent with the yearly value area high. That's really what you want to see. That's the argument to be made, right? If we do drop back in, yeah, it's going to open up some lower targets. Now, the longer price goes sideways, right? So like if you look at back over here, the yearly VWAP was like 97K, right? 97, 98K. Today it's 100.5. I guess it's pretty slow, but all that's telling you is like, let's say we don't tag it now, right? Let's say we continue chopping around in this bullshit range that we've been in for several months. There's a possibility to visit much later, right? These things can come up a little bit. We can visit it like 103. All that would really be doing is revisiting the same old lows. What would I say? Like right now, if I had to put odds on something, I would say just based on trading Bitcoin for the past few years, usually these post-capitulation. What is that song that's playing? That is not supposed to be playing. Based on my experience with post-capitulation, these ranges tend to last a little bit longer. I would be personally pretty surprised if we just showed giga strength and just maintain this spot ripping buying, eating through all of the books, trading above 116. For me, like I've been wanting this same kind of 116 to turn into demand, right? Anything above 116 has been distribution this entire time. Most of these moves have been very perp led. Most recently, this all-time high push was a little bit of spot, a lot of perps, right? Basically nuked everyone to zero on 1010, but a lot of this has been spot buying, right? Most of this leg from like 107 to where we are at 115 has been spot buying. It's been pretty healthy. The skews, the order book skews were very in favor of the bulls down here. Both times we were down very in favor of the bulls. And they've taken that, they've run with it, but will they be as demanding over 116, which they haven't shown us to do one time this entire time that we've been here? That dynamic shift will be very, very bullish. If we ever get a move like this to 120, maybe we pull back a little bit. If you start seeing spot shifting their idea from like, I'll only buy at 100K, I'll only buy at 105, only buy at 108, to being like, I'm willing to stack BTCs at 117, right? That'll be a very big, strong dynamic shift in the market. And that would kind of be your bull case above the yearly value area high. So no hope for the 100K cookbook setup. I wouldn't say there's no hope. I would say it's still definitely there. This is something that I kind of planned for back here, right? So somewhere over here, I made the call to anyone in Paragon or anyone who would listen to me, maybe I said on the public stream too, that we would test both sides of this, right? What I meant by that is we're going to trade below 109 and we're going to really test people's resolve and nerve and bidder strength and everything like that. And we're going to trade above 115 and we're going to do the exact same thing. And below here, like, and I was trying to call this out for anyone that was listening, is like, the vibes just a few percent below are going to be terrible. And the vibes just a few percent above are going to be amazing. And tell me honestly in the chat if you guys saw anything different than that. There's so much hope right now above 115, and there was so much doom below 109. And it's just a difference of a few percent. Anytime that I've traded these big kind of ranges, I've seen this mechanic play out. Usually you fail the first time you test one side of balance. Usually you fail the other side of test of balance. And then you build that equilibrium, and then we kind of decide the direction of the move. Have you seen the ZEC chart? Absolutely nuts. Yeah, man, that's a banger. I have one friend that caught this bottom to top. Anyone remembers Nexus in chat? He was telling us to look at this coin down here. I still have the doodles for him. I will never delete these till the day I die. He was asking me, he already had his own plans. I know he had his bags packed, but he was just coming in for fun and being like, where would you buy this? What do you think of this? And these are like the plans that I made. July 2024, running the kind of all-time low or whatever. This sweep right here, both very clean. Market structure break above, consolidating and setting a higher low, right? It's all super clean. Did I catch any of this? Zero. But my homie did, and when the homies are printing, I'm happy. Crazy. It's just so funny to watch these things play out, man. Even down here, I was like looking at this. I was like, why would I ever buy this? There's a billion coins in the market that looks like this. A billion coins. And I just looked at this and I was like, yeah, it's probably, yeah, like, okay, yeah, it's going to do this. Maybe I'll do another one to 100, right? And it'll come back down. Did I expect this? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So GG's to anyone who caught this, man. Respect. Crazy how I had hope at 104. Now I'm more concerned about a pullback. Yeah, I bought some. I didn't buy at 104. I bought it at 106. That was my kind of spot entry on that last dip. But yeah, I mean, this is something that we like prepared and planned for and thought of. So like when we got this capitulation down here and we saw that effort go unrewarded, we took out this is the Coinbase chart. We didn't take out the Nance one. I thought there was a chance we could take out the Nance one because you guys know how I think about the 108K to 102K kind of composite buildup. I wasn't awake for this. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. So I just kind of market bought when I woke up Friday morning. And yeah, I mean, up here, this is battle time, decision time. Classically, guys, you don't plan to do this. It just happens to you. The market forces your hand, right? And what I mean by this is you tell yourself after this, why didn't I buy the nuke? Why didn't I buy the capitulation? Why didn't I do this, right? Why didn't I do that? And then it comes down to here and you go, oh, I got the opportunity. I'm not going to buy shit. I'm not buying anything. Like, it's so fucking cooked. Like, I'm not doing shit. And then it resolves up to here and you go, oh, fuck, I'm underexposed. Everyone was right. The cycle's not over, yada, yada. Let me buy all my bags back up here. You buy up here, maybe it goes a little bit higher. You're feeling great. You're like, everything's going up only. And then maybe it fails. And then you feel like shit again. And you're like, dude, I bought the top. Everyone was right. Everyone was bearish. Everyone said the cycle's over. Oh my God, I'm such an idiot. I don't want to lose all my money. I've done this so many times this cycle. Like, I'm not going to get fucking killed. And then you close your bags right here. And then it just keeps chopping, right? The base case that I built out for you guys 2 weeks ago, the first stream after 1010, was my base case is this. And you guys can see the range of emotions that is happening in this so far. So I'm not ruling it out. You know, the setup that I said in the cookbook, which was based on the CME chart. Pull up the weekly. Right? Weekly trend tagged. Daily 200 tagged. Was that the Pico bottom? It very well could be. But if we revisit that, you goddamn right, I'm going to be a bull. Right? That's it. Simple as that. Thing is, I don't just have one plan in the market, right? Like, I've been caught. This is what taught me this. I'll never, this is the strongest moment of learning this for me. I was getting away with having very one-sided plans. And by the luck of the market, grace of God, whatever, I was being rewarded for it, right? I bought the FTX bottom. I sold in this top. I remember selling into this because we had very positive FOMC or something like that. And I remember saying, look, I'm going to buy my bags back at the weekly breaker. I'm just going to take you through this journey with me real quick, guys. And it'll be worth it, I promise you. I was like, I'll buy my bags back at this weekly breaker. We got the FUD. We got the USDC depegging. It was very scary. It's probably to this day in my life the hardest thing the hardest it's ever been for me to click the buy button. That was the most scared I've ever been because we were coming off a period of traumatic event, traumatic event, traumatic event, traumatic event, traumatic event. It just kept happening. And this really felt like another one. This really felt like, oh my God, all we did was run these highs and now we're going back to the lows and it's so fucking over. But I remembered, I planned this for myself. I was like, I'm going to take this trade. I didn't have a backup plan. This was the only plan and I got away with it. Sold up here, did really good. Had the Pepe trade, whatever. When we were here, this is where the story gets good. When we were here, I really fundamentally to my core believed that was the top for 2023. We could not expand beyond this level. We're going to pull back. This trend that we had for several months is cooked. We're building a distribution here. We're going to trade lower. I did not pick up spot here. I had my Pepe spot. I had my Solana spot. I was sitting on a lot of cash. During this whole grind up right here, I was still thinking it's probably bearish. We're probably whatever. I had to pivot as hard as I could on this candle right here. Yes, I got away with it, but I'm telling you in the moment, like it seems like such small fish to you guys right now because you're like, oh, who cares about buying at 25K versus buying at 28K? Like I understand the optics of how it looks right now, but trust me, back then it was not fucking easy. And that happened to me on the back foot, not, fully exposed to the market, all of these things because of my unidirectional, like only one game plan, right? And then I had to pivot. And I remember picking up bags that I was less convicted in, but did well, like Render and stuff like that. INJ, Render, right? Adding to Solana. There was opportunity. That was great, right? Couldn't be happier in hindsight. But I don't allow myself to ever be in that mode ever again. Right? If I'm in a range-bound environment, I'm always trying to make if-then plans for myself. Like I told you, here, right? Yes, I did sell my Bitcoin spot back. I did adjust right afterwards when we got the 4-hour trend, right? If we do not get the 100K tag, I will adjust again. It's not going to be like, that's the only trade in the world that I can take, Anyways, long story. I want to make fun of Doc, but I'm so tired I can't even come up with anything. El Bozo. Dang, felt like shit a lot of this year. This year's been hard. I will 100% agree with you guys. I think 2025 so far, this bull market, 2023 was probably the best year. Okay, we have to divide it. We can't do it year by year. Q4 of 2023 and Q1 of 2024 was by far the best that we've had at this cycle. Nothing compares. That goes in S tier. Everything, there is no A tier. That is S tier. I give you this rally, even this was B tier. I wouldn't even give this S tier as opposed to what we had in 2020, late 2023, early 2024. 2025 is like, I would say for the most participants, they would rate this like D tier. Like in many cases, you look at altcoin charts, they're like in bear markets. Like we're Bitcoin's going higher, Bitcoin's making new all-time highs, Bitcoin keeps pushing higher, Bitcoin's holding the weekly trend, but altcoins are in legitimate like bear markets. When you're scalping BTC like Sunday, are you market ordering in and out? Yes. If I want to get into a position, I am market ordering. If I feel like I've got a minute to enter, I'll limit scale. Or excuse me, not limit scale, limit chase. I had a lot like of back and forth between market ordering and limit chase this year. And limit chase is nice because it saves you a little bit on fees. Like for example, I think average, we're just going to use random numbers here. If you market order 1 Bitcoin, you pay $50 in fees. But if you limit order 1 Bitcoin, you pay $20 in fees. Those fees do add up, right? So sometimes you feel like, oh, I'll just save a little bit on fees. I'll limit chase. And what limit chase is doing is it's putting a bid underneath price. And if price moves up, it moves your bid right underneath price. So you're trying to be the first person filled anytime someone sells. It's kind of like a market order, but it requires the counterparty to sell into you to get filled. It only had to happen to me like 3 or 4 times where I wanted to bid, like I aggressively wanted into a move. And I placed a limit chase and price did this for like $200 on Bitcoin. And then it pulled back and it filled me like right here. That happened to me I don't know, less than 5 times, 3, 4, 5 times, something like that. Until I was like, yeah, I just don't even, I'm never doing this again. It's not worth it. It's just not like these 1 or 2 or 3 trades is not worth all the fees that I'm saving in the background on the other 40 trades. It doesn't matter. So I've like never done that again. Now it's just market orders. Fuck the fees. Who cares? Q4 2024 was great. Yeah, it's great now in hindsight because it's the last kind of amazing moment that we had in the markets. It felt great hitting 100K Bitcoin. All of those, like the vibes were fantastic. But if you just look on paper on what we had, what altcoins did, what the narratives were, how many rotations we got, how quick it was, it sucks. Compared to Q3 2023 and Q1 2024, I say if you just compare those 2 things alone, Q4 2024 kind of sucked. I swear I've had better quarters in the actual bear markets than the entire time post-Trump meme coin. Yeah. One discussion I was having with my friends, these are like Thursday calls. There's like 10 of us on the call. Everyone's got a different edge in the market. I think I'm like the only perp trader in the call. Everyone is like trenchers or fundamental traders or, you know, asset allocators as Magus would call them. And we love to just talk about every type of scenario in the market. And one thing I floated to them, and I was like, it really does feel like if the cycle was cooked, let's do a hypothetical. Let's say the cycle topped, right? And we go down to 70K or 80K or whatever, right? Bear with me for a second. I would look at this cycle in hindsight and say the Trump meme coin was the top. Yes, we did go higher, but I would consider this the top of the market. I would consider all of this just meaningless. The same way that a lot of people say May 2021 was the top, not November 2021, I think I would go out on a limb and say the same thing about this cycle. The second half of 2021 though was like amazing. I know people like lost everything. I know people, literal stories, this isn't even like bullshit, lost everything here and made even more money here. So for example, they made $1 million right here, they lost everything and they made 2 million over here. So maybe that's not the best comparison because 2021 was a whole different animal altogether versus what we've gotten here. I'd even come up with that ZEC trade. I think, again, I talked about this earlier. It is conviction in the bags you were buying. End of story. You have to have an undying conviction in the bags that you were buying. I've had that several times this cycle. I haven't had that in 2025. So, you know, anyone who caught ZEC from $15 to $20, $30, they have a fundamental thesis. It's not just lines on a chart, in my opinion. They're buying it for some reason or another, right? Just want to say I love this 5-minute update. Super efficient and helpful. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Some undying conviction is knock. I want to look at that chart. Let's check. How is this thing trading? It is kind of doing nothing for a very long time. Oh, it sold off quite a bit. Fully retraced the last parabolic leg all the way back down to 7 cents. Do you scalp ETH or alts, just Bitcoin? Funny story. In 2024, my most traded coin was ETH. I owe ETH a lot to like the origin story or like the training arc of the intraday trading or scalping. And then in 2025, it all just became Bitcoin. Mainly because ETH was like dog shit for a lot of this year, right? Like ETH kind of fucking went to zero. Bitcoin didn't. So yeah, I'd say like 99% of my trades in 2025 have been Bitcoin. I still take an oddball, you know, trade on ETH here and there. I do want to trade ETH more, but I'm just happy that I got some spot exposure and I'm be willing to add to that exposure if we come back. ETH left its own massive CME gap, by the way. Funny thing about CME gaps when we leave them behind is no one thinks they're going to fill and then they all fill. No one ever thinks that. They always think we're leaving this behind, and then we fill it. Oh, we pumped up, we're leaving this behind, and then we fill it. We pumped up, we're leaving it behind, and then we fill it. We pumped up, we're leaving it behind. Are we gonna fill it? Data would suggest so. Only on SafeMoon, Safe Trade right now. Wrapper to base coming in a bit. Yeah, I think no one really trusts putting money on that exchange. Fun story, back in 2023, my buddy Sam told me, he's like, dude, I'm bullish on this coin called Space Mesh. You can only buy it on Safe Trade. And I was actually out of town, and he's like, how much do you want? I'll buy it for you. I'll just hold it for you, and I'll give it to you when you get back, you know, when you get access to your wallets and stuff. And I was like, all right, cool. That's when I knew that dude was a homie. That was like, I mean, I'd already known, but when he did that, I was like, that's dope. And the fun story about SMH or Space Mesh was the exchange. The only exchange that you could trade it on was Safe Trade, and Safe Trade literally went down for like 2 weeks. You could not trade on Safe Trade, and it was the only place to trade Space Mesh. And yeah, that was kind of scary, because a lot of us were sitting on crazy unrealized gains, and we couldn't realize those gains, and the trading was down, and the only way you could sell it was like peer-to-peer. It was a very interesting time. Made bake on Cubic and Cass. Yeah, Cass was a high conviction one for me. Cubic I missed. Space Mesh, I think I don't remember what I realized on that, because I know it went up 10x from my entry, but I don't think I realized a 10x. I think I may have realized like 5 or 7 or something. I can't remember that trade at all. Relative to capital at that time, that was a very small size trade, but still nonetheless very nice. Bitcoin gap at 92K. That is the only CME gap in 2025 that has not filled. You are correct, sir. We pray for the sake of the market that this is the one that stays unfilled. We pray. Let us pray together, my friends. Let us pray that this is the one that does not fill, because that is well under the trends, and you are going to have a massive shift in the character of this cycle if that fails. Let's get rid of the dots. Look at this objectively. I mean, you know, if we fill this one, who cares? 110, 111, who gives a shit? We fill this one, you know, things may not be looking too cute. So let's hope this one doesn't fill, right? Kumbaya. That one will eventually fill, but may just take 2 years. Listen, man, I think what we need to do is continue to embrace the bear posting and only say negative things about Bitcoin. Only bear post, only say the market cycle top is in, and everything's going to zero. We need to reverse psychology of this market. Good things don't happen when we're all screaming bullish things. Look how this one filled last week. To the tick. Bitcoin going to 85K next. Facts. Going to zero, boys. You guys ever see how people will take YouTube thumbnails and they won't even like watch the video? They'll just see the thumbnail and they'll be like, "Oh, that's a counter signal." Give it a few weeks. They're gonna be doing that with my stream thumbnails. I bet you. And it's by design, so I'm prepared for it to come. Did you do Mega ETH? I did. I sent one of my friends the money yesterday. He's doing it in like a big bulk sale thing. Or bulk buy thing, I don't know. Trump announced as Satoshi with access to his wallets. It's over. Imagine spot bags. Are you asking me what spot bags I have? It's just Bitcoin and ETH. Remember that scammer called Matter? No, I don't. Appreciate you. How do you say your name? Ruum Tapak. What sentiment if Bitcoin pulls back again? Bruh. We get bad news this week, Mag. If we get some like bad FOMC news or some bad Trump China news, dude, imagine the scenes. We don't even have to do much. That's the funny part. Like, we could just come back to here and it'll be so bad. Do you like Market Monkey Terminal? Ever play with Exo charts? I downloaded Exo charts. And then I couldn't, I'm too stupid to figure out how it worked. So I needed like templates from people. Some kind people sent me some templates and I put it in there and I was like, well, I don't like anything that's on here. Like, this tool I'm not going to use, this color scheme I hate, so that I like couldn't figure out how to just customize it to myself. And I was like, it's too complicated. And I just like left it. I may revisit Exo charts at some point, but I don't use it at all. I like Market Monkey Terminal. They have Footprint on there too, which I have to use a little bit and get comfortable with before I'm going to say, you know, use Market Monkey Terminal's Footprint. $50% chance on Polymarket that Trump is Satoshi? There's no way. There's no way that's true. 50% chance? How do I take the other side of that? Is this the start of my prediction market arc? Current entry price on Mega ETH? I don't know, dude. I don't know shit about it. This is one of those things that I do in markets where I I borrow conviction from people who I consider smarter than me, and I just tail them on trades. I've done that a couple times this cycle, and a couple times they were bangers. Like the first people that told me about CAS, I only got like a surface level understanding of CAS. I did not get a deep dive, but I looked at it. I thought about the narrative from a game theory perspective. I really liked it. I thought it was undervalued, and then I thought the chart looked good, so I sent it. But that all came from borrowed conviction from friends. The same thing as the Grass trade. Grass was like a 3x off of launch, compounded one time nicely, one time meh, and then 1L at the end after cutting 220 or something. But yeah, all those gains again are just, thank my friends for hooking that one up, or for at least putting it on the map for me is what I should say. And then this most recent one, Mega ETH, again, I'm just blindly trusting them. This one is even less. I don't even know what Mega ETH is. If you guys lied to me and told me Mega ETH was DeFi, or if it was like payment rails, or if it was a stable coin, or if it was like whatever, I'd be like, cool. And blindly trust you, because I, to this day, don't even know what the fuck it is. I gave them money yesterday. I don't know what I invested in. I promise you, I'm not even LARPing a little bit. I honest to God, have no idea what Mega ETH is. It's 5%. Okay, thank you. That makes more sense with the Trump prediction odds, dude. You guys you're crazy with the 50%. If you were sidelined, would you wait until the weekly trend support or build a position maybe around the CME gap and build until 100K? Yeah, I would say statistically speaking, even the most unlikely CME gaps this year have filled. I think the legit percentage is like 99% have filled, because the only one that hasn't filled is the 92K gap. And if you're betting on the 92K gap to fill, you're basically betting on the end of the market cycle. Like, let's be honest. If you're betting on this to fill, you're betting on everything to be cooked. And then I don't know where we go from there. We'll figure it out. But I think betting on this one to fill is not that like, it's not that crazy. It's like 2% down. Okay, 4% down. It's like whatever. Would you even be surprised if we were here on Thursday? Like, I don't think you guys would be surprised. What is thinking about something from a game theory perspective means it essentially it's just like putting yourself in the minds of other traders and other market participants, thinking how they think, and thinking if cooperation is better or like betrayal is better. And from a game theory perspective, when I say like, oh, I'm picking up CAS, I think that was what I was talking about. I don't know what I was referencing it to. I think it was CAS. The narrative back then, this narrative's completely gone. The proof of work narrative, but back then there was a little bit to it. And that thing came out with good fundamentals, good supply control in the hands of like miners and stuff, very profitable for miners, very cheap, very easy. And then it also had this wacky narrative that it solved the blockchain trilemma. I'm sure there's one of you guys in here that is like a CAS maxi that's going to get mad at me for making fun of that. But they said that they solved the blockchain trilemma. If you don't know what that is, look that up. And I looked at that, I was like, okay, it's pretty much hitting on everything. And the game theory here is it's in the best interest of miners to actually hold and not distribute yet. It's in their best interest to not nuke the momentum until much higher prices, because they can distribute at much higher prices. This thing does not have Binance listings, it doesn't have Coinbase listings, it doesn't have any listings. It had MEXC. If you wanted to trade this coin, you had to trade it on MEXC. So then there's also a barrier to entry. A lot of people do not want to put money on MEXC. A lot of people don't want to create a node and farm or whatever the thing it is, right? So difficulty to entry, right? Good narrative, good backing fundamentals, supply control, like all of these things make sense to be like, I think there's the right juice here. I think it's just supposed to be an L2, but a very fast one. All right, well, now I'm less interested in this. I really just invested in an L2. And I am ready to lose money on that. I guess that's what's going to happen here. Oh, fast. It's so fast. It's like, it's 2025. You know what I mean? It's like, who cares? MegaETH is a new NFT L2 chain, pretty bullish with CryptoPunks backing. All right. At least we got some memetics now. MegaETH is supposed to be the fastest L2. All right. Why do you give it to your friend to handle for you? Thought the allos were limited. I actually don't know. We have a little trading syndicate. You know, those calls that I told you guys about, like 10 homies. Everyone's got a different edge in the market. Sometimes they blindly trust me. Sometimes I blindly trust them. It works out for the best for everyone. If ETH catches a bid, you should be all right. All right, so if I'm bullish ETH, then it makes sense to have the allocation there, right? Okay, good. We're happy. What are your thoughts about alt and meme season? I think we already had a meme season. I think we are done with the meme coin Supercycle, and I honestly think the reason that this cycle has sucked so much, and this is, if you're going to take this from anyone, take it from me, because I made most of my money on memes this cycle. Yes, I did well on a lot of coins, but my biggest bag by far was Pepe. That was the biggest win of the cycle, right? Highest conviction. It was a meme coin. And coming from someone out of that, I do think that the reason this cycle has sucked is because we took the nihilistic approach of everything is dog shit, everything is valueless, everything is no fundamentals. We do not want to care about anything. Everything is vaporware. There is no tech. There is no this. There is no that. And let's just PvP each other on memes. And it worked for a while, and I think that is dead. And the market is going to shift back to fundamentals. And I'm slowly seeing that shift happening. That does not mean that memes will never pump again. But I think the kind of generalized market euphoria of memes that we experienced in 2024 is probably never coming back. I think that was a one and done. So deep in the bearish arc that you're shitting on your own coins? Bruh. If you can't fudge your own bags, you're not a real investor. I'm doing air quotes. Would be a shame if we would be a shame if we all got rich and we went to all-time high. What a shame. Would be a shame if we closed this week at 130 and then retraced to 100. Okay, all right. I should have finished reading. Yeah, that would suck. That would suck. So basically what we've been doing for the last 5 months, hitting all-time highs and retracing the move, hitting all-time highs and retracing the move, hitting all-time highs, retracing the move. Hit all-time highs again, retrace the move. Oh yeah, that would be super fun, man. I would love that. Trump is up 20% on the day. Those fucking insiders, dude. Those assholes. I wonder what BS he's gonna talk about. Did this thing go to 0? Damn, why didn't it go to 0? Just keep moving your line down, boys. It'll be okay. Just keep moving. Just keep moving the supports down. It'll be fine eventually. ES is $10 away from 6,900. Is SPX mooning on the news? Is SPX mooning on the news that we're at 6,900? Not quite. When you're trading Bitcoin, you track spot order flow. You looking for perp traders to get off sides and spot lift price sometimes. For reading flows, there's a lot of different edges you can have. Something about, or not something, a setup that you can take is for sure perp traders in a uptrend or a downtrend getting force removed out of their positions when they're trading within the trend and getting sold off into spot buyers. So like, let's say we have a downtrend, right? And you know, someone's short and they get liquidated on their shorts right here, but you still have strong trends, strong order book skew, maybe this is a daily VWAP, whatever, and then you know, price continues downwards. So that's one of many things you can look for. It's not kind of like the holy grail or anything like that. The essence of trading order flow, just remember this, if you're gonna remember one thing, the essence of trading order flow is spotting people who can actually move price and being a little barnacle on the whale's back. That's all you're really trying to do. There's so many other things you can do with order flow. There's so many other edges you can develop and patterns you can recognize and edges you can exploit. But at the end of the day, that's really all you're doing. You're just trying to figure out who's the guy who controls the spice and you're looking to leech off them. That's it. The poly market bet is about to be right. That's what the Trump thing is. These are insiders that are betting on Trump being Satoshi. Dude, imagine if Trump actually came out and said some bullshit like that. Because I wouldn't put it past him. I would, if there's one person on this earth, I think there's already that guy Craig Wright that LARP's being Satoshi, but I would not put it past Trump to just be like, I'm Satoshi Nakamoto. All right, friends. I think that's all I have for you this week. I'm down to hang out for a little bit longer if anyone has any interesting questions they want to ask, shoot them my way. But yeah, real talk. That's all I got for you guys. Bitcoin update, Bitcoin plans for the week, what I'm looking for, how we're positioning, what the invalidations are on the bull side, what what levels we're looking at on the bear side, kind of what would get me to play continuation on price. We've basically discussed everything relevant that we needed to. ETH BTC trade is probably the highest conviction trade that I have in the market right now. I don't really have anything stronger than this trade. I think this is going to be a banger. Very hard for me to be bearish on the way this structure looks. Have you seen the clip where he talks about Barron being a genius because he was able to turn on a laptop after... No. That's unbelievable. There are 2 daily gaps on the S&P 500 cash market. The past fired in today. If those gaps were to fill, a very good chance to retrace Bitcoin gap 4% below from here. Let's see that. Cash price. Yeah. This was the last gap setup, right? Gap here, fill gap, continue up. Gap here, fill gap, continue up. There you go, guys. I'm gonna put an alert here. Who said that? Andrew? Andrew told it you. That's what I'm gonna create. It's gonna be the name of my alert. Mind taking a look at WULF? Sure. This thing probably continued chatting up, huh? I'm scared to open it because I sold my bag at like 9. Oh no. I fumbled another one, boys. Someone was asking me to Tradfi stuff. This is another thing that I picked up. I picked up some right here, sold some right here, and then like bag hold the rest. We got this candle. I looked at that as like, okay, great, exit pump, I'm out. Probably should have paid attention that it was like Google taking a stake in WULF. Another fumble. It's okay. Funniest thing about being a trader for multiple years now, like, I think, you know, I had a hard time. I had like a lot of imposter syndrome for multiple years here. Now I've kind of settled in, right? I've been here for a minute. We're coming up on, yeah, we're coming up on like 5 years of being in crypto, or maybe, yeah, 5 years of being in crypto. I mean, shit, time flies. First ever Bitcoin purchase, Thanksgiving Day 2020. Anyways, trading for a long time, trading publicly for a long time. It's so funny how many things you get correct and how many things you get incorrect. It's just like you're gonna fumble publicly, you're gonna hit hero trades publicly, you're gonna hit everything in between, and in earlier stages you feel really good about the wins, especially when they're public, because there's a part of you that just really wants to prove competence to people, right? Because you know you're in an industry where everyone lies and fakes about stuff, so you're like, you have this kind of chip where you're like, I have to prove it to people. And you take the public losses bad, and you're like, I got to use that as motivation to get better. I got this one wrong, whatever. And then you're here for 5 years, and you're just like, dude, it's all a part of the game. Like, everyone's wrong, everyone's right, everyone fumbles publicly, everyone does whatever. And I'm at the point now where I'm just like laughing about my own mistakes all the time. Yeah, I got this wrong. Who cares? It's like next week I'm gonna hit a banger, and I'll talk about it, and then some asshole will just be like, dude, you're so egotistical, you're claiming clout for this. So it's like you're gonna piss people off no matter what, so who cares, you know? End of the day, all I'm trying to do here is get better, man. This is a hobby for some people. This is a little pit stop for some people. This is my life. Live for this shit, dude. If I wasn't enjoying it still here 5 years later, I wouldn't be here. I got burnt out of playing tennis. I got burnt out of medicine. I've had one blip of burnout with crypto. And I realized that burnout had nothing to do with trading. It just had burnout to do with like the same Discord conversations and the same streams and the same CT fucking jokes and everything. I was like, that's what's burning me out. So if I just like tame that down and only focus on trading, dude, I love this shit. Are you positioned in ETH? I'm positioned in ETH. I've got a pretty decent ETH position. I actually had to de-risk some of it because I was looking for a ETH BTC break over here. And I cut a little bit out of ETH stack, and I did not buy it back this weekend, which is okay. I'm happy with my exposure. Like, I have a good amount of exposure. Not hedged on ETH or anything like that. So if it came down and we filled in the CME gap, I'll probably buy more. So if we come back down to like the 39s or whatever one more time, you know, even if this pushes higher, we'll trade it higher, right? We'll look for the continuation trades higher. This morning we had a really clean one too. Yesterday in Paragon, I called out the 21 or 41 at 20 level. Nelly, you're here in chat, you can attest to that. This was the level that I was like, we cannot trade below. We got this tag this morning. Clean, perfect, beautiful, sexy, mean reversion into the daily VWAP. It's picture perfect. So, I mean, ETH looks good. If it continues trading up, the levels that I would have for it, I think it's like 4,500 from here. Based on, wait for it to load. Where did my VWAP suite go? There we go. Based on previous month's values. So we're trading back in a previous month's value area low. That was that level right there. The next target would be 45.20 on ETH. So if this momentum carries, look for 45.20 on ETH. The longer you stick around, the more it becomes clear The longevity is only the proof of success. Being all cards BS. How long can you stay in the game? Yeah. So many people come and go, dude. It's always funny to me. This is one of my favorite moments, and you guys are gonna have to take this with a grain of salt because it may come off a little bit asshole-ish. The only people on my feed after liquidation events like 1010 that are back literally the next day making the same jokes, having a good time, are the people that I always expect to just be doing well. Like a lot of people get, you know, they need time off, they need time away from screens, they get burnt out, they get this, they get that, they're in negative moods, they lash out at people, they're starting fights on CT. But there's a core group of like 200 people whose names I've been seeing on my feed from like 2022. And when things like that happen, they're the same motherfuckers that are there the next day talking about markets, or happy to joke about stuff and happy to take trades. They'll FUD the entire market and then 2 days later be like, I'm spot long again. I just picked up spot. I just picked up this. I just picked up that. They're not going anywhere, man. So I don't need to see any P&L cards from them. I don't need to see any P&L curves. I just kind of know, you know, they've earned my respect. Any advice to get out of burnout? Remove everything that is unnecessary. Burnout is a case of legit not enjoying what you do, and you need to figure out what that is that you're not enjoying. If it's trading, if literally trading is burning you out, then you're doing this as a means to an end. You're trading for money, right? You're trading because you're like, this place can make me a lot of money. That's why I'm here. So your goal is money. Your goal is not, I actually like the tech. I actually believe in Bitcoin. I actually enjoy trading. I don't care if I make money or lose money. This is so much fun to me. I can't wait to wake up in the morning and look at charts and find new game plans and get better, right? If that's the case and you're just like, I hate this shit, then I think what you need to do is like reframe your strategy in crypto and just be like, look, I'm going to own as much Bitcoin as possible. I'm going to stack the shit out of it until I find a conviction trade that beats Bitcoin. And I'm going to stack the shit out of that. And all I'm going to learn how to do is be a high time frame trader. That's it. But, you know, if it's not trading and you actually enjoy this shit and you're still burnt out, then you're probably dealing with what I dealt with, which is just burnout of the same memes every day, the same jokes in chat every day, the same comments, the same like value area high, value area low, EMA this, what trends do you use? Like if that's burning you out, that's completely understandable, because that gets to me sometimes. Any advice on alts that haven't recovered from the 10-10 crash, like XPL? Give it time. Don't force anything. Just literally, my advice is do nothing. Just do nothing. You don't have to do shit. You don't have to be a hero. You don't have to buy the lows. You don't have to buy the bleeder. Do nothing. Like if this thing turns out to be a turd, all you have to do is wait for momentum the downside to end. Eventually it will. Like whether it's here or it's here or it's down here, right? Eventually a day will come where it stops doing this and it starts doing that. And when it starts doing that, just buy it. You know, I completely understand the desire to like be like, look, we've deviated the lows, we've reclaimed the lows, I'm gonna take a long, my invalidation is here, I think this is the move to the highs. Fine, do it, right? Take those trades. But if your thing is like, I bought XPL on the nuke, but my entry is like 50, and then I bought more here, and then, oh, it's cheaper, and I bought more here, and then, oh my god, that's too scary, I'm not going to buy this one. Oh, wait, it bounced, I bought more here. Oh shit, it's bleeding at the lows. What the fuck do? I thought it was going to hold this time. You're in a bad position that you no longer control. You're trading emotionally. You're trading to save money and save your cost basis and not lose money. You're not trading because you actually like the asset. You're just trading frantically to try to save an initial bad position. And this is what a lot of people do, man. They buy something because they think it's cheap and they don't know what they bought. They don't really like what they bought. They just got influenced by someone to say, hey, this is the next yada yada, so I'm going to buy it. And then they have to manage the position forever until they get to the point where one of two things happens. Eventually they get so sick of it that they cut the bag and move on. And hopefully don't chase another thing and get yourself into another one of these positions. Or they see it out. And it takes forever. I know a lot of people that, you know, they come to me and they're like, Doc, I still own Cardano from last cycle. What should I do? right? Oh my God, these wicks, dude. Every time I look at these. Like, I own Cardano and I give them the same advice. Like, what would you do? Would you buy this here today? Like, if you have a 40, 50, 80 cent cost basis on Cardano and it's trading at your entry, are you going to buy it again today? Or are you going to rather buy something else? If the answer is something else, fucking sell this bag and move on. Run through a scalp setup you took and really like. There's almost everything I do in the public streams for you guys. Like, I kind of don't hold anything back. The one thing that I do want to keep in-house in Paragon is like anything that I'm doing intraday or low time frame. That's the only thing that I would like, you know, to not just talk about publicly. The one thing that I'm not going to take full credit for this because Pierre is a much bigger name than I am and has influenced a lot of people. Mercury is also a much bigger trader, trend trader. But I have seen myself the edge erosion in EMAs this cycle. And the reason that has happened is because you have a lot of traders using EMAs, talking about the strategies openly, talking about how to trade them, talking about the entry triggers. And when too many people are doing the same thing, the edge starts to erode. And I am a little bit careful about the intraday stuff and not just being like, you know, I just want to share this with the whole world. There's a lot of stuff that I use the discretionary edge that I don't talk about publicly. And that's for that reason only. Like, if I was still a 5,000 follower account and there's only like 20 of you guys here, I wouldn't care. But the bigger my channel gets, the harder it's going to be for me to want to do those kind of things. I think the only thing I have talked about on an intraday basis is don't use price action, don't use EMAs, solve for volume and positioning, right? So completely change your mindset into who's in control of the market, why is the market moving up, what is the health dynamic of this move, is it spot led, is it perp led, are perps being forced out of their positions, are they defending these lows, who's in control of the market on the day, is the market sloped upwards, downwards, sideways, it's neutral on the day, okay, it's neutral on the day, what's the high time frame picture, what's the likelihood that the high time frame bulls or bears are going to take advantage of these locations, right? What is happening at the lows? Are we getting force remove positioning? Are there people defending these lows? Should I take a scalp here? Should I take a long here? If I'm wrong, where am I wrong, right? How do I calculate my RR? What's the obvious mean reversion target for me, right? That's the way you need to think about low time frame trading as opposed to high time frame or medium time frame trading, where it's like, I got the SFP. It closed as an SFP. I got the breaker set up. I'm buying into the breaker. My invalidation is under the breaker. It's a completely different ball game trading low time frame, and that was something that I learned doing all of this. Where's the... Okay, 15.7. Almost there. Anyways, boys, we're going to call it there. Somehow we almost ran to 2 hours. I came in the stream today going like, I want to try to get everything done in an hour because I'm kind of cooked. I don't normally trade Sundays, and I traded Sunday, and because I had that like position open overnight, I don't really share stuff on CT anymore, but I posted the executions over the weekend or from Sunday's trading, and I had like a good chunk of the Bitcoin long still running. So what I did for myself on the last trade, I'll share this one with you guys, and we'll close it off. Whenever we get expansions like this, big blowout expansion candles, one or two things gonna happen. Either you're going to find new balance or you're going to retrace the entirety of the thing. I bet on us finding new balance yesterday, with my invalidation basically being we're going to retrace this, right? That's how I rebought after TPing. And as I was trading this chop, I was basically like, okay, I'm going to take enough off so that if I take this full L overnight, I'm not going to care. I'll wake up, stopped out, who gives a shit, right? But in the event of doing that, even with the position that I held overnight, I still wasn't able to get good sleep. And this was a lot of what drove me to trading intraday in the first place, is just not hold overnight positions. But I thought this was too juicy to not hold overnight. So it worked out. I don't know where my TP got hit, somewhere in here at like 2 in the morning. But yeah, good day. Anyways, boys, you guys have a good one. If you want more from me, you know where to find me. Check out the cookbook, which should be dropping soon. Maybe they already dropped it. The link is in the description box below. If you guys want to learn how I trade intraday, because that's where the money's made nowadays, feel free to check out Paragon. Plenty, it's almost going to be overwhelming for you guys if you join, to be like, there's so much education in here, where do I start? But we've streamlined everything as of a couple months ago, so everything should be very easy for you guys to follow and learn from. And one thing I will say is guys like Nelly that are showing up even on the public streams, like it's fun to see those guys grow and learn and be like, yo, I learned that last summer and that's my setup. And then I fucking taught that setup and then they learned that setup and now they're making money off it. That's kind of cool, man. I'm not gonna lie. That shit's kind of cool, man. So anyways, I'll see you guys. Take care.